Hey guys, it's me, Halloween Dan, and today I'm not doing one of the videos I've been doing recently where I talk about props and stuff. Today, I'm sorry to inform you, is one of my random conversation videos. If you've not seen one of these before, strap in. It can get bumpy. This is something that's been bugging me, really. It's been bugging me for a while, and I've been wanting to get it off my chest. It's not the biggest thing, it's not the most important thing. It's probably very low down on the scale of importance here, but it's just something I've wanted to talk about because it kind of grinds my gears a little bit, and it goes into some bigger issues, I suppose, that are not even just inside the Halloween community but beyond. Because today, guys, I'm talking about a product that's been used in the Halloween community for years, decades, right? It's such an innocuous background piece of stuff that we use in our decorations and our haunts and stuff. It's barely worth mentioning a lot of the time. In fact, I think very few people ever talk about it. But it's still there as something we've used for a very long time in the haunted community. And recently, it has been somewhat vilified. It's been thrown completely under the bus, and it's been turned into the spawn of Satan. It's really considered now a truly evil product that should be avoided at all costs. And the reason this video is called My Unpopular Halloween Opinion is because I'm sat here going, is it that bad? Is it though? And that could get me in some trouble here, because I think most people have made their minds up about this product, if they even know what I'm talking about here. And I might be the only one who's thinking this way. Possibly. I'm probably making a bigger deal of this than is necessary to do. But that's what I do, right? I make big deals of absolutely nothing. So anyway, guys, today we will be talking about the truly evil, shocking, horrendous product that is fake cobweb. Yeah, that's right.
It's time for another random conversation with Dan.
So yeah, whatever that was, random chat video this definitely is. I do these a lot, I'm not gonna lie, interspace between a lot of stuff about props. But today's random chat video, like I say, this is just something that's bugged me for a while. And it kind of came to the forefront last Halloween. I'll get into that in a minute. Because a lot of you, I'm sure, are sat here going, fake cobweb, Dan? Really? Why is this a video? What are you talking about? Does this really have to be a video? I think you're going too far with this. And some of you will be going, Dan, I think I know what you're talking about. Dan, I think I know where you're going with this. And if your opinion on this is an unpopular one, then I am shocked and appalled. And I'm sorry if I shock and appall anyone here with my opinion. This is just an opinion, right? It's grinding on me, so let's do this. So the fake cobweb I'm talking about is that cheap, generic stuff that you usually buy around Halloween that's in like a little plastic bag. Kind of looks like candy floss or cotton candy for my American viewers. I don't know why we call it candy floss either. But that's what it looks like, in a bag, and then you get it home and you stretch it out across bushes and plants and trees and stuff, and it gives a relatively basic fake cobweb effect. If you use it correctly, it's really actually quite good. And it's been around for decades, and I and many in the haunted community have used it without much problem or issue. And then probably a couple of years ago was the first time I became aware of this. I started to see and become tagged mainly, in an awful lot of posts being shared around Facebook, which were basically saying how terrible this product was and to avoid it and to not use it. And they were using two main factors as to why this product was so evil. The first was that it was single use, and that after every season it had to be thrown away, and that adds to landfill, so it's bad for the environment. And that I can completely understand. That is 100% true. But it was the second point that was being used that was like the killer blow, like the real, like, let's take him out kind of thing, like knockout blow.
He's singing the hymns. He's trying to get...
And was the one most people were most upset about. And that was that this product, as innocuous as it looks, when strung about like it is, can inadvertently and accidentally encapture and strangle and basically kill small birds, lizards, mammals and insects. And it acts exactly like how real cobweb acts. It ensnares and encaptures things, except it's not for a spider to eat. It's just then it ends up being a dead bird hung up in some stuff. Not good. And like most people who read those posts, I was quite shocked. I was quite appalled by the idea of that. I didn't want something I did for joy at Halloween to end up in the death of a creature. Of course not. Like many, I decided there and then, I'm not going to use that product anymore. It's not a big deal. It's not a big part of my Halloween, so I'm not going to use it. End of discussion. But then I do what I often do, which often gets me in trouble across a whole range of different things. And it's that I decided to have a little think about it. My brain always overthinks everything anyway, and this was one of those occasions where it started to think about this. And every time I'd see one of these posts pop up, I started to ask questions. And the thing I couldn't really get away from was I kept on thinking about how long I'd been using this product. And when I really thought about it, I frightened myself, to be honest, because what I realized was I'd been using this product for like 26 years. Like, I've been using this product for a quarter of a century. That's terrifying. I am so old. As I thought about that, I then started to almost in a panic think, well then how many innocent wildlife creatures have I killed with this stuff over the years? And as I really thought about it long and hard and tallied up the numbers, I came to quite a shocking realization. And the realization was that over that whole 26 years, I'd accidentally killed and captured nothing. Absolutely nothing. Not a bug, not a bird, not a lizard, not a badger, not even a slug. Like, literally not one thing. And that was kind of odd to me, because the way these posts were written was like, this was really common. It happens all the time. Every other person that uses this product is going to accidentally kill wildlife. Yet I'd been using a lot of this stuff for like 26 years and it had never happened. And the thing about me is as well, not only do I use a lot of it, but I live quite rurally. I live in a little village. I don't live in a big town or a city. We live in a little village. There's open countryside, like 300 yards from where I'm sat right now. I can see fields. We get a lot of wildlife around here. Lots of birds, lots of insects, all kinds of stuff. And it had never happened. And you'd think if it was gonna happen to anyone, it would happen to me with all the fake cobweb that I use. In fact, it made me think that if I was buying this product for the purpose of capturing wildlife, I'd be probably wanting a refund about now, because this stuff really hasn't done that. So that was red flag number one. And as I realized this, as I came to this conclusion, it kind of stirred in me a kind of a general interest that probably it didn't stir in anyone else. And I started wanting to find out a bit more about this. So I turned to the posts themselves. I had a little look at these Facebook posts a little bit more in detail. The second red flag was who'd actually bothered to tag me in these things. They were usually people, let's just say, that usually didn't care about Halloween. That if they had their way, maybe Halloween wouldn't happen anymore, particularly in the UK. So they were them kind of people who never shared anything about Halloween, but they'd chosen to share this particularly negative thing about Halloween and let me know about it. Red flag, anyone? But the third red flag was the posts themselves, which all kind of looked a bit... They obviously had been shared an awful lot of times and they degraded. The pictures didn't look very good. The writing, the actual caption didn't look very good. And it was kind of just obvious that this had either been like almost like computer generated or had been shared that many times by that many different people for probably years and years, that it just, the quality of it didn't look great anymore. And the pictures themselves were kind of ambiguous. Like, some of them would show creatures, something wrapped up in fake cobweb, and it kind of looked more like that scene from Lord of the Rings where they go into Shelob's lair and there's dead things hanging about. You can't really tell what the dead things are. They could be stuffed animals for all you know, but you can kind of tell it's a thing. Other pictures, though, literally just showed fake cobweb on a bush, and it was a bit confusing exactly what the message was supposed to be. The other thing, though, was that as I read the post a bit more in detail, it quickly became apparent that whoever or wherever these posts had originated from, they obviously had never been intended for the UK audience. That wasn't the audience in mind, because a lot of them mentioned specific species that were at risk, like hummingbirds and migrating monarch butterflies, both of which are species of animals we don't get here in the UK. So clearly, whoever wrote them had had a particular part, I'm guessing, of the US in mind when they wrote it, probably within about a mile of where they live, never intending it to be shared a million times and end up with a guy like me sat here in the UK looking at it. It kind of had vibes of, I'm pretty sure everyone who's been on Facebook has experienced this at some point, where some relative of theirs has shared something very well-meaning across Facebook. They've shared some post. Usually it's like about a lost dog or a lost cat. And you look at it and you're like, oh, grandma's sharing a post about a lost dog in Mexico from 2016. You know what I mean? Only when you look at it a second time, the meaning is very well meant. It's like it's a very nice thing that they're concerned about this lost dog, and they're sharing it to let people know there's a dog that's lost 8 years ago on a different continent. You know what I mean? We've all seen that. It's happened, right? And this had vibes of that. It had those vibes of, it probably meant something at the time it was originally shared, in the place it was originally shared in, but I'm not sure it has that great of a meaning for me and the other UK audience as a whole. Now, I know what you're thinking. Dan, just because you haven't experienced this in your 26 years doesn't mean it can't happen, right? And I accept that fact. And just because it wasn't intended for you in the UK doesn't mean it can't happen in the UK. You have small bird species, you have insects and butterflies and stuff. It can happen. I fully accept that fact. I'm not saying that UK wildlife is impervious to this stuff and it doesn't happen in the UK. And if you are in the UK and you've experienced this firsthand, please comment in the comment section, because I'd love to hear from you and hear your experience. But I've just never heard of it happening in the UK. It just doesn't seem to be a thing here. And it'd be like me sharing a post about, watch out for those polar bears sneaking into your garbage cans at night. Here, it happens somewhere clearly, but is it really relevant here? Don't think so. But that wasn't enough for me. I was so curious and I wanted to get to the bottom of this. So then I went to the comment section, and if you've never been in the comment section of a post on Facebook, go and treat yourself, because it really is a treat for the eyes. Sometimes it's an assault on the senses, but it's a treat. If you want to cheer yourself up and make yourself feel better about yourself, go and read some comments in the comment section of a Facebook post, because they're brilliant. There were hundreds of comments, hundreds and hundreds. These things have clearly been shared a lot. Most of the comments were people tagging other people into it. What I suppose I was looking for was those comments that said, this happened to me. I live in Dorset and I accidentally caught a flock of seagulls. Or I live in the Outer Hebrides and this happened to me. Or I live in London and this happened to me. I was looking for some UK-based stories that reflected this. But instead, what I saw were comment after comment of people going, I am shocked and appalled. I can't believe that this product is still sold. Or, I've been using this for 20 years, but I won't be using it again. Or, I heard about this from my brother's sister's in-laws. I am shocked and appalled. In other words, a whole bunch of very well-meaning people who clearly cared a lot about this subject, but whom had still never actually experienced this. So then, me being me, I started writing in the comment section myself. Every time I'd see one of these posts pop up, I'd write in the comment section, and I'd write something like, I've been using this product for 26 years. It's never happened to me. Just wondered, has it happened to any of you? And it would either get one of two responses, either no response. Weirdly, sometimes the post would be removed, like not my comment, the whole post. But sometimes you would get a response, usually from the person who'd originally shared the post, and they would say something like, I haven't ever experienced this, but nor would I want to. I'm not willing to take that risk. So you clearly don't care about wildlife if you're even questioning it. And it's like, well, that's not true. I do care about wildlife, and I would care if this had happened and if I had evidence to show that it had happened. But all you're literally doing is telling me that it's not happened to you. You've shared this post, but you've not experienced it. Some of the people who were sharing the post and responding back to me had never even bought it, had never even used the stuff. And they were still sharing this post, clearly just concerned by the idea of it. And the only analogy I can give to that is like, it would be like me stopping crossing roads because of fear of being hit by a bus. It's not impossible that it might happen one day if I'm not very careful. It could definitely happen. But I'm not going to stop crossing roads for fear of it happening. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Either way, by the time I got to the end of all of this, I'd realised that, at least for the UK anyway, this is really uncommon, if it happens at all. And this is what bugged me initially. It's not, the fake cobweb thing is not actually that important. It's not the fact that it's fake cobweb. It's just, it's just fake cobweb. I can use other things. I understand there are better things you can use. You can use the beef netting. You can use all kinds of different things for your fake cobweb. It's not about the fake cobweb. I'm not one of them people who go in for it's the principle of the thing. But on this occasion, it kind of is. There's a whole bunch of people turning their noses up at this quite innocuous product based upon nothing more than a weird set of Facebook posts backed up by very little evidence. And I just can't stand that thing of people jumping on the bandwagon and, out with their pitchforks and their torches like, get the fake cobweb, based upon no evidence. Literally nothing, except some really dodgy Facebook posts. And I can't stand that. I can't stand people just jumping on bandwagons and making their minds up based upon nothing and then trying to guilt trip everybody else into having the same view as them based upon nothing, on no evidence, on no actual physical evidence at all. And that bugs me, and it ties into this wider thing. It bugs me about a lot of things. People just deciding things for other people and steamrolling over what other people want to do based upon nothing, just an opinion, nothing more than an opinion. I wasn't going to talk about this. I wasn't going to make a video about this until last year. You might remember my haunt was in our local newspaper and I showed a picture of it, I think, and I talked about it a little bit. And it was a real proud moment for us and our family to be in the local newspaper, and it got a whole lot more attention than normal. And it was great. But one or two bits of that attention were a little bit negative. And at least a couple of comments I received were about the fake cobweb that I used. And talking about I like your display, but you shouldn't be using fake cobweb, it can capture birds. And although I didn't respond to these people, I really wanted to. I really wanted to say, there's
no evidence for it, at least not here in the UK, so shut up.
Didn't do that, because I'm not that kind of person. But I wanted to, I'm not gonna lie. And this is the thing. The thing about it is that actually there is a valid argument to not use fake cobweb. And that's the environmental thing. It is still single use, and you still should be trying, we all should be trying better at not being so unenvironmentally friendly. The only reason that I continue to use it is because, you know what? There's so little in life that you can get so excited about and joyful about. I am joyful and happy about a lot of things, but Halloween is one of the biggest on my timeline. It fills me with such joy. And to be honest, I understand the environmental issues, but I always think there are bigger fish to fry here. There are bigger issues in the world when we're talking about environmental issues than a bit of fake cobweb used on my front garden. Like when you've got celebrities flying off in their private jets for a 200-mile distance and things like that. And I'm here like, but I'd better not use my fake cobweb. Then it's kind of like, it's a bit rich. You know what I mean? I know I should be doing my part, and I do the rest of the year. I think to myself, why should I limit what I want to do at this one time of year that I really like to go a bit overboard on, purely because this one thing is a little bit bad for the environment, when there are so many other things that we do throughout the year that are bad for the environment and no one says a thing about them. It could turn into a bigger debate, this, and a bigger argument, the whole environmental thing. And I'm not going to go down that road today. It is a big road that we could go down, to be fair. And it does open up a whole Pandora's box of issues if we go down it. But today I just wanted to focus on that. I wanted to focus on this idea of, it's not so much fake news. I'm not Donald Trump or anything.
Can you stay categorical? You are fake news.
It's just that it is sharing something across the internet, trying to make people change what they do and how they do it based upon not a lot of evidence. And if it's happened to you, particularly if you live in the UK, I do want to hear from you because it could change my mind. But until I see some physical evidence of it happening to someone, they've first-hand experienced it, I'm going to carry on using this stuff. Because I kind of don't like being bullied or guilt-tripped into not doing something based upon nothing. Does that make me bad? Maybe it does. But that's just how I feel about it. And now I feel better because I've got that off my chest. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching this ridiculously long chat video today. I'm sorry it's so long. I hope I haven't bored you too much. And I will see you in the next one. Keep it spooky. Bye.